The obsidian pits smelled like rust and bad decisions. The cantina sat deep inside an asteroid, carved out by miners who had died centuries ago. Now it belonged to mercenaries, killers, and anyone else who made their living with violence. Cranthor sat at his usual table in the corner. He was a Vrex, which meant he had 4 arms and skin like gray stone. His species were born hunters. They had conquered 12 systems before humans even learned to make fire. Cranthor himself had fought in over 300 battles. He had destroyed planets. He had killed kings. He feared nothing in the galaxy. Tonight, he was drinking alone and watching the crowd. The cantina was full. Talon warriors stood near the bar, their 9-foot frames making everyone else look like children. A group of Kresh mercenaries played cards in the corner, their red scales gleaming under the lights. The Kresh were the most dangerous soldiers in the known universe. They were bred for war. Their DNA had been changed and improved for 2,000 years. They never lost battles. At least, that used to be true. The door opened and Velthar walked in. He was a consortium lord, which meant he was rich and thought everyone should care. His purple robes cost more than most ships. Guards followed him, but they looked nervous. Smart guards were always nervous in the obsidian pits. Velthar walked to the center of the room and waited. Slowly, the noise died down. Mercenaries turned to look at him. Some were curious. Most were annoyed. "I have a contract," Velthar announced. His voice was high and proud. "A simple raid, a colony ship with minimal defenses. The payment is 5 million credits." Someone whistled. 5 million was enough to buy a small fleet. It was enough to retire on a paradise world. It was the kind of money that made people stupid. "The target?" someone called out. Velthar smiled. "A human transport ship, 15,000 colonists, 2 escort frigates. The ship is called the Tejin." The cantina went silent. Cranthor stood up. His chair scraped against the stone floor. Every eye in the room turned to him. He looked at Velthar for a long moment. Then he walked out. He did not say a word. The Talon warriors looked at each other. Then they followed Cranthor out the door. The Kresh mercenaries put down their cards and left. Within 2 minutes, half the cantina was empty. Within 5 minutes, only a dozen people remained. Velthar's face turned dark purple with rage. "What is this? I'm offering 5 million credits!" An old Vrex named Gorath sat at the bar. He had not moved. He took a drink from his glass and watched Velthar with 3 tired eyes. "You," Velthar said, pointing at Gorath. "Why did they leave? Are they cowards?" Gorath laughed. It was not a happy sound. "Cowards. Cranthor once destroyed a moon colony for 2 million credits. The Kresh over there fought the entire Talon fleet and won. Those warriors you called cowards have killed more people than your entire world has ever borne." "Then why?" "Because we want to live long enough to spend our money," Gorath said. He set down his glass. "Because attacking humans is suicide." Velthar walked over to the bar. His guards stayed close, but even they looked worried now. "Explain." Gorath sighed. He had told this story before. Too many young fools came to the obsidian pits thinking they were brave. Too many of them wanted to prove themselves. And too many of them thought humans were easy targets. 30 cycles ago, Gorath began, the Kresh Dominion decided to expand their territory. They found a human mining outpost on a dead moon. 40 miners, no military presence, no weapons systems, just miners pulling ore from rock. And the Kresh sent 3 warships, top of the line, the best warriors in the galaxy. They surrounded the mining station and demanded surrender. Velthar waited. The humans sent one message back, just 5 words. "You have made a mistake." Gorath took another drink. The Kresh thought it was funny. They started their attack. But something happened. The humans had already sent a distress signal, a special kind of signal. What kind? The kind that brings the ghosts. Velthar frowned. What are ghosts? Human soldiers. Not regular soldiers. Special ones. Gorath's voice dropped lower. Humans are peaceful, you understand? They like talking. They like trading. They like making friends. But when you attack their people, they send the ghosts. 3 warships against 40 miners, Velthar said. The outcome is obvious. You're right, Gorath said. The outcome was obvious. 2 hours after the attack started, all 3 Kresh warships went silent. A human ship arrived 6 hours later to pick up the miners. All 40 were alive and safe. They had hidden in the deep tunnels. And the Kresh? Gorath met Velthar's eyes. Gone. Every single one. 3 warships. 2,000 Kresh warriors. The best soldiers their species ever created. All dead. How? The ghosts killed them. Gorath's voice was flat. They boarded the ships. They went through those warships like fire through dry grass. The Kresh had armor that could stop plasma weapons. The ghosts tore through it with their hands. The Kresh had combat drugs that made them faster and stronger. The ghosts were faster and stronger still. The Kresh had 2,000 years of military pride. The ghosts had something worse. What? Determination. Gorath finished his drink. Humans don't fight to win battles. They fight to end threats, completely, permanently. They don't take prisoners when you attack their civilians. They don't negotiate. They don't show mercy. They teach lessons that entire species remember for generations. Velthar was quiet for a moment. Then he laughed. You believe ghost stories? Propaganda? I'm offering real money for a simple raid. Then do it yourself, Gorath said. He stood up from the bar. I've killed thousands of people across 100 worlds. I've done terrible things for money. But I'm still here because I know one truth that keeps me alive. What truth? Every species in this galaxy will fight you. Some will fight harder than others. Some will fight smarter. Some will fight meaner. But only one species will hunt you across the stars, spend any amount of time and money, and destroy everything you ever loved to make sure you never threaten them again. Gorath walked toward the door. That species is human, so keep your 5 million credits, Consortium Lord. I'd rather be poor and alive than rich and dead. He left. The cantina was nearly empty now. Velthar stood there, his purple robes looking foolish in the dim light. His guards whispered to each other nervously. One of the remaining mercenaries, a young Talon, stood up. I'll take your contract. Velthar smiled. Finally, someone with courage. Gorath, who was almost to the door, stopped. He looked back at the young Talon. There was something like sadness in his 3 eyes. Courage and stupidity look the same, he said quietly, until the fighting starts. Then he was gone, disappearing into the dark corridors of the asteroid. Velthar began gathering his crew. Within an hour, he had 18 ships. They were desperate criminals, naive newcomers, and fools who thought money was worth any risk. They prepared their weapons and plotted their course. Far away, the human colony ship Taiyajin moved quietly through space. 15,000 families slept in their quarters, dreaming of their new home. They did not know that death was coming for them, but they didn't need to know, because the humans had ghosts, and the ghosts never slept. The colony ship Taiyajin was 3 months into its journey. 15,000 people called it home now, living in small apartments that would be their world until they reached their destination. Children went to school in the education decks. Adults worked jobs that kept the massive ship running. It was a small city floating through the stars. Dong-hyun sat in the engineering section, watching screens full of numbers. He was the chief engineer, which meant he worried about things like oxygen recyclers and power cores and waste management. Boring work, but important. He had been doing it for 12 years. The proximity alarm started beeping. Dong-hyun frowned. They were in deep space, far from any trade routes. There shouldn't be anything out here. He checked the sensors twice, then 3 times. Then he reached for the communications panel. "Bridge, this is engineering. We have 18 ships on approach. Unknown configuration." The response came immediately. It was Captain Hyejin. Her voice was calm, like always. "Confirmed. Battle stations. This is not a drill." Throughout the Taejin, lights changed from white to red. People stopped what they were doing. Parents grabbed their children. Teachers moved students to safe rooms. Everyone had practiced this. Everyone knew what to do. On the bridge, Captain Hyejin sat in her chair and watched the screens. She was 53 years old. She had gray hair and a calm face. She had been in the colonial fleet for 30 years. She had seen many things. "Yunji, hail them," she said. The young communications officer nodded. Her hands moved quickly across the controls. "Channel open, Captain." "Unknown vessels. This is the colony ship Taejin. You are on an intercept course. Please identify yourselves." The response came fast. A purple face appeared on the screen. Velthar smiled like he had already won. "Taejin, you will shut down your engines and prepare to be boarded. Surrender now and some of you might live." Hyejin looked at him for a long moment. Her face did not change. "You are making a mistake. I have 18 warships. You have 2 escort frigates and a cargo hauler full of civilians. The only mistake would be resisting." "I am required to give you this warning," Hyejin said. Her voice was still calm, but something in her eyes had changed. "You are attacking human civilians. Under Terran Defense Protocol, this triggers an automatic response. Stand down now. This is your only chance." Velthar laughed. "Terran Defense Protocol? I know about your laws. You can't use military force unless attacked first. Those 2 frigates can't stop my fleet." "The frigates aren't the response," Hyejin said quietly. "Yunji, send code midnight to Fleet Command, then broadcast the standard warning on all frequencies." Yunji's hands were shaking. She was only 24 years old. This was her first real emergency, but she did her job. Her fingers flew across the controls. "Code midnight sent, Captain. Broadcasting warning now." Every ship in Velthar's fleet received the same message. It was text only, simple words that appeared on every screen. "You are attacking human civilians. This is your final warning. Stand down immediately. We do not bluff. We do not negotiate. We do not forgive. The choice is yours." Velthar read the message and laughed again. "Fire on the escort frigates. Let's show these humans what real power looks like." His fleet opened fire. Energy weapons lit up the darkness of space. Missiles streaked toward the 2 small human frigates. And then something strange happened. The frigates didn't fire back. They didn't raise shields. They didn't move at all. They just sat there, taking hit after hit. "Evasive maneuvers!" someone on Velthar's flagship shouted. "Multiple small objects incoming!" On the Taejin's bridge, Dong-hyun had come up from engineering. He stood next to Hyejin and watched the screens. "Boarding pods deployed. Time to contact. 15 seconds. "How many?" Hyejin asked. "All of them." Velthar watched his screens in confusion. Small pods were attaching to his ships. Dozens of them. They moved fast. Faster than any boarding pod should be able to move. His crew was good. They should have been able to shoot the pods down. But the pods were too quick, too small, too perfectly aimed. "Security teams to all breach points," Velthar ordered. "Repel boarders." On his flagship, Talon guards ran to the hull breaches. They were 9 feet tall, covered in armor, carrying heavy weapons. They were professionals. They had done this hundreds of times. The first pod cut through the hull. A circular hole appeared, glowing red from the heat. The Talon guards raised their weapons and waited. A figure stepped through the hole. It was human-shaped, but wrong somehow. It wore black armor that seemed to drink the light. Its helmet had no face, just a smooth black surface that reflected nothing. It carried no visible weapons. "Surrender or—" the lead Talon guard started to say. The figure moved. It was too fast. One moment it was at the breach point. The next moment it was in the middle of the guards. Its hand punched through the lead guard's armor like the metal was paper. The guard fell. The other guards fired. Energy bolts filled the corridor. The figure dodged some shots. Others hit its armor and did nothing. In 6 seconds, all 8 Talon guards were down. The figure stood there for a moment. Then it turned and walked deeper into the ship. More figures were coming through the breach behind it. This same scene repeated on every ship in Velthar's fleet. Black armored figures appeared. Security teams tried to stop them. Security teams died. The figures moved through the ships like ghosts, unstoppable and silent. On the Taijin, a security officer named Sang-ho watched the video feeds they were receiving from the attacking ships. His face was pale. "Captain, what are those things?" Hyejin didn't look away from the screens. "Ghosts, our special forces. But they're tearing through armored bulkheads with their hands." "Modified combat frames," Dong-hyun explained quietly. "Cybernetic enhancements, genetic improvements, neural upgrades. They're still human, mostly, but they're also weapons. The most dangerous weapons humanity ever created." "How did they get here so fast?" Sang-ho asked. "The nearest military base is weeks away." "They were already here," Hyejin said. "The 2 frigates weren't escorts. They were ghost carriers. When we left Earth, they followed us. Silent. Hidden. We didn't even know they were there." "Why?" "Because every human colony ship gets a ghost escort. We don't advertise it, we don't talk about it. But they're always there. Watching, waiting." She looked at Sang-ho. "This is what happens when someone attacks human civilians." On Velthar's flagship, alarms screamed. "Engineering section breached," someone shouted. "They're heading for the core." Velthar ran to the bridge. "All ships, emergency jump. Get us out of here." "We can't," his pilot shouted back. "They've disabled the jump drives on all vessels. We're trapped." Velthar felt real fear for the first time. He pulled up the security feeds. Black armored figures walked through his ships. His guards couldn't stop them. His blast doors couldn't slow them. His best warriors lasted seconds against them. 12 ships have gone silent, his sensor operator reported. No life signs, no power. They're dead in space. "How many of these things are there?" Velthar demanded. "Unknown. Sensors can't track them properly, but based on the number of breaches, hundreds, maybe thousands." Velthar grabbed the communications console. "Taijin! Captain Hyejin! I surrender! Call them off!" Hyejin's face appeared on the screen. She looked sad. "I gave you a chance to surrender. You chose to attack civilians instead. Now it's not my decision anymore. Please, we made a mistake. We'll leave." "You don't understand," Hyejin said softly. "The ghosts don't answer to me. They don't answer to Earth Command. They don't answer to anyone except the mission. Protect human civilians. You attacked civilians. The ghosts will complete their mission. Nothing can stop them now. Not me, not you, not anyone." The screen went dark. Velthar looked around his bridge. His crew stared at him with terrified eyes. The sounds of fighting echoed through the corridors, getting closer. "All hands! Abandon ship!" Velthar shouted. "Get to the escape pods!" He ran. His guards ran with him. Behind them, the sounds of metal tearing and people screaming filled the ship. Velthar reached the pod bay and threw himself into an escape pod. He slammed the launch button. The pod shot away from his flagship. Through the small window, he watched his beautiful ship drift in space. Lights flickered and died. Explosions bloomed inside. And all around it, 17 other ships suffered the same fate. Then he saw the 2 human frigates. They weren't damaged at all. The attacks had done nothing to them. They just floated there watching. Velthar's pod tumbled through space, taking him away from the battle. He was alive. But as he watched his fleet die behind him, he understood what old Gorath had tried to tell him. Humans were peaceful. They liked talking. They liked making friends. But when you attacked their people, they became something else, something terrifying. The Taijin's observation deck was quiet. Families gathered there to watch the stars. But tonight it was nearly empty. Only a few people stood at the windows, watching the dark shapes floating in the distance. Dead ships. Velthar's fleet. Yunji stood there alone. She couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the video feeds, the black-armored figures, the guards falling, the screams over the communication channels before they went silent. "You did your job well today." She turned. Captain Hae-jin stood beside her. The older woman looked tired. "I sent the warning," Yunji said quietly. "They didn't listen. They never do." Hae-jin looked out at the dead ships. "The first time I saw a ghost operation, I was your age. 24, fresh out of the academy. I was on a patrol ship when pirates attacked a human mining station. What happened? The same thing that happened today. We sent the warning. The pirates laughed. Then the ghosts came." Hae-jin was quiet for a moment. "I threw up afterwards. Couldn't eat for 2 days. Couldn't stop shaking." "Does it get easier?" "No. It gets familiar. That's worse." Hae-jin turned away from the window. "Get some rest, Yunji. Tomorrow we'll be busy." But sleep wouldn't come for Yunji. She kept thinking about the warning she had sent. Those simple words. "We do not bluff. We do not negotiate. We do not forgive." She had meant them as a mercy, a chance to leave. But Velthar had thought they were empty threats. He had been wrong. Deep in the Taijin's restricted section, Dong-hyun walked through corridors that most of the crew never saw. He had clearance for this area. Chief engineers needed to know about all the ship's systems, even the secret ones. He reached a sealed door and pressed his hand to the scanner. The door opened. Inside was a small command center. Screens covered every wall, showing data streams and tactical information. A figure stood in the center of the room. It wore the black armor, but the helmet was off. The man underneath was younger than Dong-hyun expected, maybe 30 years old. His eyes were strange, though. They had a silver tint to them, cybernetic implants. "Woo Jin," Dong-hyun said, "I wanted to thank you. You saved 15,000 lives today." The ghost operative turned. His face was blank, showing no emotion. "We did our job. That's all. Still, thank you." Woo Jin nodded slightly. He looked back at the screens. "The threat is contained. All hostile vessels are secure. We recovered 43 survivors from escape pods. They're in holding. What happens to them? Trial. Earth Command will handle it." Woo Jin's voice was flat, almost mechanical. "The ones who just followed orders might get prison time. The ones who made the decision to attack civilians—" He didn't finish. Dong-hyun knew what happened to people who attacked human civilians. The trials were fair but harsh. The galaxy needed to understand that attacking humans came with real consequences. "How many of you are there?" Dong-hyun asked. "Ghosts, I mean." "Classified." "Right. Sorry." Dong-hyun looked at the young man. "Can I ask you something personal?" Woo Jin waited. "Do you ever regret it? Becoming a ghost?" For the first time, something flickered in Woo Jin's silver eyes. "Every day. But someone has to do it. Someone has to make sure that families like the ones on this ship can travel safely. Someone has to be the thing that scares the monsters." "You're still human, though, right?" Woo Jin was quiet for a long time. "Mostly. We have cybernetic enhancements, genetic modifications, neural implants. Our bones are reinforced with metal alloys. Our muscles are grown in labs. Our reflexes are computer-assisted. We're stronger than any baseline human, faster, tougher. We can survive in vacuum for short periods. We can see in the dark. We can process information like computers. But you're still human. Are we? Wu Jin looked at his hands. We can't go back to normal life. Our bodies need special maintenance, special food, special medical care. We can't have families. The modifications make that impossible. We can't retire. Once you become a ghost, you're a ghost until you die. He looked at Dong-hyun. So are we human? Or are we weapons that look like humans? Dong-hyun didn't have an answer. Far away on a different ship, Velthar sat in a holding cell. The walls were white and clean. There was a bed, a toilet, and nothing else. Human guards stood outside, but they didn't talk to him. They didn't even look at him. The door opened. A human walked in. She was older, maybe 60, with short gray hair. She wore a simple uniform with no decorations. "My name is Mirei," she said. "I command the ghost forces in this sector." Velthar looked up. "Are you going to kill me?" "That depends on a lot of things." Mirei sat down on the only chair in the cell. "Tell me something. Why did you attack the Tajin?" "Money. The contract paid well." "You're a consortium lord. You're already rich. You didn't need the money." Velthar was quiet. "You wanted to prove something," Mirei said. "You wanted to show that humans weren't special, that the stories about us were just propaganda, that we were weak." "Everyone talks about humans like you're gods," Velthar said bitterly. "Like you're untouchable. I wanted to prove you were just another species." Mirei nodded slowly. "I understand. It bothers you that people fear us." "Yes. Good. It should bother you. It bothers us too." Mirei leaned forward. "Do you know why we created the ghosts?" "To conquer the galaxy." "No. To survive it." Mirei's voice was sad. 200 years ago, humans joined the galactic community. We were excited. We wanted friends. We wanted to learn. We wanted to trade and share knowledge. Do you know what happened?" Velthar didn't answer. "We were attacked, constantly. Pirates raided our ships. Slavers took our people. Some species thought we looked funny, so they killed us for entertainment. Others thought we were weak, so they tried to conquer us. In the first 20 years, we lost over 3 million people to violence." Mirei stood up and walked to the wall. "We tried diplomacy, we tried trade, we tried making friends. Nothing worked. The galaxy saw kindness as weakness. So we adapted, we created the ghosts, and we made a simple rule: attack our civilians, and we will end you." "You're monsters," Velthar said. "Yes, we are. We had to become monsters to protect our people. That's the price of peace." Mirei looked at him. "Every species in this galaxy has a choice. Trade with us, talk with us, be our friends. We will help you. We will share with you. We will be the best neighbors you ever had. Or attack us and face the monsters we became." "I didn't know." "You were warned. Captain Hyojin gave you a chance to leave. You chose to attack anyway." Mirei walked to the door. "You'll stand trial. If you're lucky, you'll spend the rest of your life in prison. If you're not lucky—" She paused. "The families of the crew members who died in your initial attack get to decide your fate. Human law allows that." The door closed. Velthar was alone again. Back on the Tajin, life slowly returned to normal. Children went back to school. Adults went back to work. The red lights changed back to white, but everyone knew what had happened. Everyone had heard the stories by now. In the mess hall, people gathered in small groups and talked quietly. Some were scared, some were grateful, some were both. A young boy asked his father, "Dad, are the ghosts good guys or bad guys?" The father thought about this for a long time. "There are guys," he finally said. "That's what matters." In the restricted section, Wu Jin and his team prepared to leave. Their job was done. The Taijin was safe. The threat was eliminated. Time to go back to the frigate and wait for the next alert. Wu Jin put his helmet back on. The silver eyes disappeared behind the black visor. He became the ghost again, faceless and emotionless. A weapon, not a person. But before he left, he looked at one of the screens. It showed the observation deck. Families stood there, watching the stars, safe and happy. "Sir?" one of his team members asked. "Are you okay?" "Yeah," Wu Jin said quietly. "Just remembering why we do this." They left through the airlock, using small thrusters to fly back to their frigate. The Taijin continued on its journey. 15,000 people slept peacefully, dreaming of their new home. They didn't know about the black armored figures watching over them from the darkness. They didn't need to know. The ghosts were always there, silent and invisible, keeping the monsters away. That was enough. The message spread across the galaxy in 3 days. A consortium lord named Velthar had attacked a human colony ship. His entire fleet was destroyed. He was in custody. But the story didn't end there. The ghosts were still working. Senator Krath sat in his office on the consortium homeworld. He was important and powerful. He had served in the government for 40 years. He owned 3 mansions and a private fleet. He thought he was untouchable. His desk screen beeped. A message appeared. It was from Velthar, sent 2 weeks ago before the attack. It was a payment confirmation, 5 million credits transferred from Krath's private account to Velthar's. Krath's blood went cold. He tried to delete the message. His computer wouldn't let him. The file was locked, protected. Someone had already made copies. His office door opened. A human walked in. Not a ghost in armor, just a man in a simple gray suit. He looked normal, friendly even. "Senator Krath," the man said. "My name is J1. I'm with Human Intelligence Services. We need to talk." "I have diplomatic immunity," Krath said quickly. "You can't arrest me. I'm not here to arrest you." J1 sat down without being invited. "I'm here to explain what happens next. I want my lawyer. You can call your lawyer after we talk. This won't take long." J1 pulled out a data pad. 2 weeks ago, you transferred 5 million credits to Velthar. The same day, he hired mercenaries to attack the colony ship Taijin. That's not a coincidence. I was investing in a business venture. We have your communications. All of them. Every message, every call, every meeting. We know you paid for the attack. We know you authorized it. We know you profited from similar attacks in the past. Krath felt sick. "How did you—" "We're very good at finding information." Jaewon's voice was calm and friendly, which somehow made it worse. "Here's what's going to happen. Tomorrow, this evidence will be delivered to the Consortium Justice Ministry. They will open an investigation. You will be arrested. You will stand trial. The Consortium will protect me. I have friends. Your friends are abandoning you right now. We've sent them the same evidence. They know that being connected to you means being connected to an attack on human civilians. No one wants that association." Krath stood up. "You can't do this. I have diplomatic immunity. The treaty protects you from human courts," Jaewon agreed. "It doesn't protect you from consortium courts, and it definitely doesn't protect you from losing everything you have." He stood up as well. "Your assets are being frozen. Your accounts are being audited. Your business partners are canceling contracts. By this time tomorrow, you'll be broke and in jail. This is illegal." "Actually, it's perfectly legal. We're just sharing information with the proper authorities." Jaewon walked to the door. "You helped attack human civilians, Senator. You thought your money and position made you safe. You were wrong." He left. Krath stood alone in his office, feeling the walls close in. On a space station in the neutral zone, a crime lord named Gresh counted his money. He had made a fortune helping Velthar arrange the attack. He had provided ships, weapons, and crew. It had been good business. Until tonight. His guards started screaming. Gresh looked at the security cameras. Black armored figures were walking through his station. Not running, not rushing, just walking, like they had all the time in the world. His guards fired weapons. The figures didn't slow down. His blast doors sealed. The figures cut through them like paper. His best warriors charged them. The warriors died. Gresh ran to his escape ship. His hands shook as he started the engines. The ship's door was closing when a black armored hand caught it. The door stopped. Metal groaned. A ghost pulled the door open and stepped inside. Gresh pulled out a plasma pistol and fired. The shot hit the ghost's chest armor and did nothing. The ghost took the weapon from Gresh's hand. Not roughly, almost gently, like taking a toy from a child. "Gresh," the ghost said. The voice came through a speaker in the helmet. It sounded human, but empty. "You provided resources for an attack on human civilians. You have two choices. I'll give you anything. Money, information, anything. Choice 1. Surrender now. Stand trial. Accept punishment. Live. Yes, I surrender. Choice 2. Resist. Die. Everyone who works for you also dies. Your organization is erased from existence." Gresh dropped to his knees. "I choose surrender. Please." The ghost pulled out restraints. "Smart choice." This scene repeated across the galaxy. Every person who had helped Velthar, who had provided support, who had known about the attack and said nothing, they all received visits. Some surrendered, some fought. The ones who fought didn't survive. Wu Jin led one of the ghost teams. They were on a desert planet, tracking down a mercenary who had been part of Velthar's fleet. The mercenary had escaped in a pod and thought he was safe. He wasn't. Wu Jin found him in a small cantina on the edge of a mining town. The mercenary was a Talon, bigger and stronger than any human should be. He was drinking and telling stories about his narrow escape. Wu Jin walked into the cantina. He wasn't wearing his armor, just normal clothes. He looked like a regular human, small, harmless. The Talon saw him and laughed. "Human! You're a long way from home!" Wu Jin walked up to the bar. "I'm looking for someone. He was part of a fleet that attacked the Taejin." The cantina went silent. Everyone looked at the Talon. The bartender backed away. The Talon stood up. He was 9 feet tall, muscles like steel cables. "What if I was part of that fleet? What's a little human going to do about it?" Wu Jin turned to face him. "I'm giving you a chance to surrender. Come with me peacefully. Stand trial. Accept justice." The Talon laughed again. He reached for Wu Jin. Wu Jin moved. His hand shot out and grabbed the Talon's wrist. He twisted. The sound of breaking bone echoed through the cantina. The Talon screamed. "I'm not a regular human," Wu Jin said quietly. "I'm a ghost, and you attacked our civilians." The Talon fell to his knees, holding his broken arm. "I surrender! I surrender!" "Good choice." Wu Jin pulled out restraints. "Anyone else in here part of that fleet?" The cantina emptied in seconds. Only the bartender remained, pressed against the back wall. "Thank you for your cooperation," Wu Jin said to him. Then he led the Talon outside, where his team was waiting. Across the galaxy, the net tightened. Every person involved in the attack was found. No one escaped. It didn't matter where they hid. It didn't matter how far they ran. The ghosts were patient. The ghosts were thorough. The ghosts never stopped. On Earth, in a quiet office building, Mireille received reports from all the teams. She read through them carefully. 43 survivors from the battle, all in custody. Senator Krath arrested by consortium authorities. Crime Lord Gresh surrendered. 12 other facilitators captured. 3 killed while resisting. Every thread of the conspiracy was being pulled. Every person who had helped was being held accountable. This was the part that the galaxy didn't understand about humans. It wasn't just about winning battles. It was about making sure the lesson was clear. Attack human civilians, and everything you are will be dismantled. Your money won't save you. Your position won't protect you. Your friends will abandon you. Your organization will collapse, and you will face justice, no matter how long it takes. Mirai's assistant, a young woman named Bo-Ra, brought her coffee. Ma'am, some of the other species are complaining. They say we're being too aggressive, that we're hunting people across sovereign territory. Let them complain, Mirai said. We're not breaking any laws. We're sharing information with local authorities. We're making legal arrests. We're following proper procedures. But the ghosts are operating within their legal mandate, protecting human civilians and responding to direct threats. Mirai took a sip of coffee. The galaxy doesn't like it when we flex our muscles. They prefer us to be nice and friendly and harmless. But they also need to remember that we can do this, that we will do this, every single time. Do you think it works? The deterrent? Mirai looked out the window. Look at the data. Attacks on human civilians have dropped 97% since we created the ghosts. Pirates avoid human ships. Slavers skip human colonies. Even wars between other species avoid human territory. She turned back to Bo-Ra. Yes, it works. Fear works. We hate that it does. We hate being the scary ones, but it keeps our people safe. Is it worth it? Ask the 15,000 people on the Tajan. Ask their children. Ask the families who didn't lose loved ones today. Mirai's voice was firm. We do terrible things so that good people can sleep safely. That's the job. That's the price. In his cell, Velthar watched the news feeds. Every day brought more arrests, more of his network exposed, more people betraying him to save themselves. His careful plans were falling apart. The door opened. Wu Jin walked in. He wasn't wearing his helmet. Velthar could see his face, young, human, the silver eyes that marked him as a ghost. You destroyed everything I built, Velthar said. You built it on violence, Wu Jin replied. This is what happens when you attack humans. I just wanted to prove you weren't special. We're not special. We're just committed. Wu Jin sat down. You attacked 15,000 civilians. Did you think we would forget? Did you think we would forgive? Did you think there wouldn't be consequences? I thought I could win. Everyone thinks that. They all learn the same lesson. Wu Jin stood up to leave. Your trial starts tomorrow. I hope it was worth it. He left Velthar alone in the white cell, waiting for justice. 6 months passed. The galaxy moved on, but it didn't forget. The obsidian pits looked the same as always, dark corridors carved into dead rock, the smell of rust and bad decisions, mercenaries gathering to find work and spend blood money. But something had changed. A young captain walked into the cantina. His name was Court. He was Talon, which meant he was big and strong and thought he was tough. He had just bought his first ship with money from his last job. He was looking for his next contract. He walked to the bar and ordered a drink. The cantina was busy tonight. Vrex hunters sat in corners. Kresh soldiers played cards. Everyone looked dangerous. Everyone looked mean. Court liked it. This was his kind of place. I'm looking for work, he announced loudly. Big jobs, dangerous jobs. I don't care what it is. If the money's good, I'm in. A few heads turned. Most ignored him. Young captains came here all the time, full of pride and empty of sense. I'm thinking of raiding a human mining ship, Court continued. I heard they're easy targets, soft, weak. Anyone want to join me? The cantina went silent. People started leaving, not running, just standing up, finishing their drinks and walking out. Within a minute, half the room was empty. Court looked around, confused. What's going on? Only one person remained at the bar, old Gorath, the Vrex who had been there for decades. He took a long drink and sighed. Sit down, kid, Gorath said. I don't want to sit. I want to know why everyone's leaving. They're leaving because you just said the stupidest thing anyone can say in this place. Gorath gestured to a chair. Sit. I'm going to tell you a story. If you're smart, you'll listen. If you're stupid, you'll ignore me and die. Your choice. Court sat down slowly. 6 months ago, Gorath began, a consortium lord named Velthar came to this cantina. He offered 5 million credits for a simple raid, a human colony ship with minimal defenses. Easy money, he said. What happened? Everyone left, just like they did tonight. But Velthar was like you, young, stupid, too proud to listen. He found desperate people willing to take the job. 18 ships, good crews, strong weapons. Gorath's 3 eyes looked sad. All 18 ships were destroyed. Every single person aboard them either died or was captured. Velthar is in prison now. He'll be there for the rest of his life. And that's if he's lucky. 18 ships against 1 colony transport? The humans have ghosts, special soldiers, modified, enhanced, unstoppable. Gorath leaned closer. Listen carefully because this is important. Every species in this galaxy will fight you. Some fight harder than others. Some fight smarter. Some fight meaner. But only humans fight to make sure you never fight anyone again. Ever. That's just propaganda. Senator Krath thought the same thing. He helped fund Velthar's attack. He was powerful, rich, protected by diplomatic immunity. The humans found him anyway. They didn't kill him. They didn't need to. They gave all the evidence to his own government. Last I heard, he's in a consortium prison, broke and abandoned by everyone he knew. Gorath stood up. Crime Lord Gresh helped arrange the attack. The ghosts walked through his fortified station like it was made of paper. He surrendered. He's in prison, too. But I'm just talking about a mining ship. There's no such thing as just when it comes to humans. Raid a mining ship with 40 people, and the response is the same as if you attacked a colony with 40,000. Attack 1 human, attack all humans. That's their rule. Court was quiet now. He was starting to understand. I've been doing this for 50 years, Gorath said. I've killed more people than you've met. I've destroyed cities. I've burned worlds. But I've never touched a human ship. You know why? Why? Because I like being alive. Gorath finished his drink. Every veteran in this room knows the same thing. Fight anyone else and you might win or lose. Fight humans, and even if you win the battle, you lose everything else. They'll hunt you. They'll find you. They'll take everything you have. And when they're done, you'll wish they'd just killed you in the first fight. Gorath walked to the door. He paused and looked back. Go ahead and raid your human mining ship, kid. Maybe you'll be the first one to succeed. Maybe you'll prove all the stories wrong. Or maybe, in 6 months, some old mercenary will be telling a new crop of fools about what happened to Captain Court. He left. Court sat alone in the empty cantina. The bartender wouldn't even look at him. Slowly, Court stood up and walked out. He had a lot to think about. On Earth, in a ceremony room that few people knew existed, Wu Jin stood with his ghost team. They wore dress uniforms, not armor. They looked almost normal, almost human. Mireille stood in front of them. The Taijin incident is officially closed. All suspects are in custody or deceased. All evidence has been processed. All justice has been served. She paused. Well done. The team didn't react. They were too professional for that. But Wu Jin felt something. Relief, maybe. Or just exhaustion. What's next? One of his team members asked. Rest, training, waiting. Mireille looked at them with something like sadness in her eyes. There will be another incident. There always is. Someone will forget the lesson. Someone will think humans are weak. And you'll have to teach them again. It's the job, Wu Jin said quietly. Yes, it's the job. Mireille walked closer. I know what you sacrifice. I know what you give up to do this. I know that you're not really human anymore. Not completely. But you're doing it so that other humans can stay human. So that families on colony ships can sleep safely. so that children can grow up without fear. She saluted them. You are ghosts. You are weapons. You are nightmares. But you're also heroes. Don't forget that. The team saluted back. Then they filed out, returning to their training facilities, their medical bays, their lonely lives as the things that protected humanity from the darkness. Far away, on the colony ship Taejin, life had returned to normal. The ship was only a few weeks from its destination now. Families prepared for their new life. Children practiced the skills they would need. Everyone was excited. Yoonji sat at her communication station on the bridge. She monitored routine traffic, trade ships passing nearby, weather updates from the colony world. Normal, boring work. She liked boring. Boring meant safe. Captain Hee-jin sat in her command chair, reading reports. We'll arrive in 16 days, she said. Everything is on schedule. Captain, Yoonji asked, do you think it will happen again? Another attack? Probably not in our lifetime. Word spreads fast. Every species knows what happened to Velthar now. Hye-jin looked up from her reports. But eventually, yes. Someone will forget. Someone will think they're special. Someone will test us. And the ghosts will respond. Yes, that's their purpose. Hye-jin's expression was complicated. We created them to protect us. And they do. But I wonder sometimes what price we pay for that protection. What do you mean? The ghosts aren't really human anymore. They've given up everything to become our shields. Their humanity, their futures, their lives. Is it fair? Is it right? I don't know. Hye-jin shook her head. But I'm glad they're there. And I'm glad we don't need to think about them unless something goes wrong. 16 days later, the Taejin arrived at its destination. A beautiful planet with blue oceans and green continents. 15,000 people disembarked, ready to build a new home. As they set foot on the new world, none of them knew about the 2 frigates that had followed them the entire journey. The ship stayed hidden, cloaked in the darkness of space. Inside those frigates, ghost teams watched the colonists celebrate. Woo Jin stood at an observation window, his helmet off, watching families hug and children run in the grass of the new world. Do you ever want that? One of his teammates asked. A normal life? Every day, Woo Jin admitted. But I can't have it. None of us can. We're too changed, too modified, too broken. He watched a little girl pick flowers while her parents watched. But they can have it. That family, those children, they get to live normal lives because we gave up ours. Is it worth it? Woo Jin was quiet for a long time. Ask me when I'm dying. If I can look back and know that I kept people safe, that I protected families, that I made sure children could grow up in peace. He nodded slowly. Then yes, it's worth it. The frigate's engines hummed to life. The ghost ships left the colony world behind, disappearing into the black. Back to the shadows. Back to the silence. Back to waiting for the next threat. On the Galactic Council station, Human Ambassador Tae-min stood before the assembled representatives. He was a calm man with a friendly face. He smiled easily. He made jokes. Everyone liked him. Today, he was answering questions about the Taejin incident. Ambassador, a consortium representative said coldly, your ghost forces operated across multiple sovereign territories without permission. This cannot continue. Taemin's smile never wavered. I apologize for any inconvenience. However, I must remind the Council that every operation was conducted legally. We shared intelligence with local authorities. We made arrests within proper jurisdictions. We followed all treaties and laws. Your ghosts are a threat to galactic peace. Our ghosts are a response to galactic violence. Taemin's voice remained friendly, but something hard entered his eyes. For 200 years, humans have been attacked, enslaved, murdered. We tried diplomacy, we tried trade, we tried being nice. None of it stopped the violence. He looked around the council chamber. So we adapted. We created a deterrent. Attack our civilians and face absolute consequences. It's simple, it's fair, and it works. You can't threaten the entire galaxy. We're not threatening anyone. Taemin spread his hands. Trade with us. Talk with us. Be our friends. We will be the best allies you ever had. We will share technology. We will help with disasters. We will be kind and generous and peaceful. His smile disappeared. But if you attack our people, if you harm our civilians, if you think humanity is weak because we prefer peace, he paused. Then you'll learn what the killers already know, that attacking humans isn't just dangerous, it's a death sentence. The council chamber was silent. Taemin's smile returned. Now, shall we discuss the new trade agreements? I think you'll find our offers very generous. The meeting continued, business as usual, friendly and diplomatic and peaceful. But everyone in that chamber understood the message. Humanity had learned to be kind, but they never forgot how to be lethal. And across the galaxy, in dark cantinas and mercenary dens, the story spread. The legend grew. The lesson was taught again and again. Even the killers said no, because attacking humans was a death sentence.